Another piece is this miserable guilty fraudster, Robert Menendez, the Democrat senator from New Jersey. Well, over the past 30 years, I always take a little cash home and in case of an emergency. Well, how much cash did you have in your house? So it turns out he had, $500,000? Ow! That was a pretty cool Mercedes that somebody got for his old lady, though, huh? Oh, my goodness. And the gold bars. What was this I read that in examining the gold bars, forensic examination found DNA and DNA samples, and I think even some hair samples of his other defendants, his other defendants. I mean, look, let's face it, Menendez is a corrupt son of a bitch. And the reason Schumer hasn't said anything is because Schumer doesn't want to lose until he knows there's going to be someone to take his place. He doesn't want to lose that vote in the Senate. From a political point of view, I can't blame him. But anyway, Menendez said he's not going to step down no matter how many people in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party call for him to resign. But you notice how the Republican Party is being very quiet. I don't think any Republican Party, what am I talking about? The Christian fascists. As far as I know, not one of those snakes has come out of the forest and demanded that Menendez resign. That would be rather funny, wouldn't it? Given this creepy little fuck that they have in the House from New York. What's his name? I don't even know what his name is. You know what I mean. You know who I mean. Anyway, so Menendez had a meeting, closed-door meeting with Senate Democrats yesterday. And after that meeting, he more or less gave his colleagues the middle finger. And when he came out, he said, quote, "I will continue to cast votes on behalf of the people in New Jersey as I have for 18 years. And I'm sure when they need those votes, they'll be looking forward for me to cast those votes," end quote. Whoa. You get the implied threat there, don't you? Of course, he could always, he's up for re-election in 2024, but he could always pull a, one of these stunts like Joe Manchin pulled. He's going to be an independent. Maybe Menendez could even declare himself a Republican and vote with the Republican caucus for the rest of his term. Wouldn't that be a mind fuck, huh? During the meeting, this closed-door meeting, according to reports that have leaked out of there, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer didn't interrupt Menendez, let him have the floor. And according to reports, there were no questions asked by other senators in the room. I guess they just let Menendez ramble on and didn't say a word, which I find kind of shitty too, don't you? Now, when he spoke to reporters at the Capitol on Wednesday, Schumer said Menendez had, I love this, Mr. Menendez had fallen far short of the ethical standards expected of senators, and that he, Schumer, was, quote, deeply disappointed and disturbed, end quote, when he read Menendez's indictment on federal bribery charges. But, Chuck stopped short of urging Menendez to resign. He just, he wouldn't do that. And the reasons, I'm sure, are political. And then, what else? Schumer didn't talk to reporters right after yesterday's closed session with Menendez. And previously, Schumer had issued a statement, which they always do. I mean, sure. But the statement said Menendez, quote, has a right to due process and a fair trial, end quote. And Schumer also lauded Menendez's decision to temporarily step down from his position as chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. Of course, that's what the Senate Democratic Caucus's rules require. So where's the honor? And the Foreign Relations Committee, I have come to realize, I never paid too much attention to that unless we were in a shooting war someplace, but the Foreign Relations Committee is one powerful position. If you're chairman especially, good God, you have power. Anyway, back on Wednesday, Menendez and his old lady, Nadine is going to turn out is some sort of a political operative for the Egyptian government. I think she's a spy. What do you think? They've only been married, about 3 years? I think he met her through an Egyptian source. Ooh, the plot thickens. And, the government of Egypt, run by al-Sisi, is as corrupt as they come. Al-Sisi is another one of these goddamn authoritarian fascist son of a bitches. He happens to be a Muslim nutcase. There's so many Christian nutcases. Only one Jewish nutcase I know of. That would be Bibi Netanyahu. In positions of power. But apparently al-Sisi, the dictator of Egypt, got all kinds of favorable treatment from Menendez and his old lady Nadine. I guess that'll come out at trial, unless Menendez tries to cut a deal to keep all this shit hidden. But the two of them are accused of participating in a scheme to abuse his powerful position, enrich themselves, and secretly aid the Egyptian government. It's not the Christian fascists in the Republican Party, so-called, who have a sole ownership situation where it concerns aiding and abetting dictators. No. There are some key Democrats, as we all know, who have the same inclination, if the money is right. Anyway, as I'm sure you know, Menendez was released on a $100,000 bond. His wife was released on a $250,000 bond. That should speak volumes. And Menendez was ordered to give up his personal passport, allowed to keep his official passport, yada, 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 yada. John Fetterman, the Democratic senator from Pennsylvania, was the first senator to call for Menendez to step down. And he decided not to go to yesterday's closed-door meeting with this thug, this Democratic grifting bastard Menendez, with the Senate Democrats. Fetterman said after the meeting, he was referring to allegations made in the indictment. He said, quote, "I'm not interested in some kind of explanation on why he has gold bars in his mattress or anything like that. But from what I understand, he's defiant." And again, that's continuing his level of arrogance that is astonishing, end quote. John Fetterman. Yeah. Now, Fetterman said he would not only support a Democratic challenger to Menendez in 2024, but he would also consider backing an effort to throw the son of a bitch out of the Senate chamber now. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.